Hello and welcome to another Star Wars movie commentary with Luke, me, RazorwireReviews, and CP at Willie Screedia. Say hello.
Hello. See, I know this enough to say hi long enough to get the camera on me, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm making sure that the camera's on me. I'm CP Willie Screedia. Hi, how are you?
So now you've seen his face, and that's good. That's good enough for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's all you need.
So this will hopefully be the beginning of a little venture a continuation, where we'll be talking about the Star Wars movies as they run, commentary style. And we've done two before. We did Rogue One, I think, in 2017, and The Last Jedi in 2018. So episode 9 is coming out in December. It is currently February as of the recording of this.
Barely. Almost.
So if we do one a month and kind of rerun the Rogue One and Last Jedi commentaries, then we'll get all the way to the end of the year, and once a month we can kind of revisit the chronological journey of the Star Wars films. And we will be including Solo and Rogue One, which will be there's no, I mean, if we were to redo one of those, it would just be absolutely abysmal. I think we've said everything we need to say on both those films. We had 2+ hours. That's done. But now we start with episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And we're just going to start this right away because there's a lot of stuff in the film. We're not going to be doing a commentary on the things that are happening throughout the film because there's, it's not that much interesting going on for the good, first 30 minutes of the film. So we have our Blu-rays ready. If you want to play along at home, you can do that too. Otherwise, just listen to this kind of podcast style. It's up to you. And yeah, so I have mine ready. If you want to count this down, we'll hit play.
All zeros.
Yep.
On go.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
20th Century Fox.
Yes. So, as the crawl begins, let's actually cast our minds back almost 20 years now. It is the 20th anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Just crazy to think about. Do you remember when you first saw this film?
Yes. Yes. It wasn't opening day, but it was opening weekend. But okay. Yes.
So paint us the picture of that. What were you thinking going into that? What was your expectations? And
you know what's funny? I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, that was awesome, because it leaves you on such a high note.
Yeah.
And I had such rose-colored glasses on for it. I was like, yeah, man, can't wait for the next one. This is totally cool. And then went back to watch it a second time, and it was like, all right, it wasn't Empire. And then the more it sat with me, the more it was just like, no,
okay.
wasn't that good.
So I mean, the internet was still in its infancy, I feel like, at that point. I was going to say, because you're a little bit older than me, were you more aware of the fan kind of realization?
No, I really
wasn't.
Yeah, I had no sort of influence per se, from the internet, where the Plinkets of the world decided to start taking the film down. Like, I had no influence. It was just, I kept watching it. Watching it, and then when it came out on VHS, I remember watching it and thinking, yeah, I don't know. And I know it was bad because I would watch the trilogy and just not want to watch the first one.
Right.
Like, I would watch the original trilogy and be like, doesn't matter.
That's interesting. When I first saw it, I was 11. So I mean, how old are you? Not to give away your age.
19.
So there's quite a big difference there, really, when you think about it. So for me, I was all on board. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see this one in the cinema, which was a real kicker. I lived in Wiltshire at the time. You could see Stonehenge from my bedroom window, which is pretty cool. But there wasn't many cinemas around. It was like an hour for the nearest cinema.
Can I cut you off for a second?
Yeah.
The one thing that is so synonymous with Episode 4 and introducing us to this new trilogy is that opening shot, that dominance of the Empire, just showing us with just two ships, and it's just not here. It's just I'm sorry, I just, like, the introduction is just so not there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I remember watching it and seeing the opening, going, So what's going on here then?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Even as a kid, but yeah, the nearest cinema was like an hour away, and there was no way I could go on my own. My mum had and still has a real distaste of going to the cinema because where I get annoyed at people in the cinema who are like, noisy and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I can tolerate it because I love going to the cinema. She just won't go. So we didn't get to go see it. My friend had it, pirate copy, and I refused to believe him. I was like, "There's no way you have the new Star Wars film on your computer." He's, "Oh, my dad's got it." I was like, "You must be thinking like an animated film or something." So I go over there and we sat down and we watched it, and I loved it, and got it on video, watched it again, loved it again, and it was a few years before the cracks started to show, I suppose, because it's a kids movie, so it's.
Yeah.
And I would say that Phantom Menace is by far the goofiest of any Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And
even right now with these Asian stereotypes on these people.
So we have our first look at Obi-Wan Kenobi chronologically. Remember that was a big deal in the trailer. That one of the lines was like, Anakin Skywalker meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Just like, holy shit,
Yeah. You see, like this, you have this silver C-3PO. That could have been enough as far as shoehorning that droid in, right? But no, they went the full 9. But whatever.
Yeah, it's quite a slow starter, isn't it, for a film?
Oh man, it's bad. Yeah. I mean, you think of Episode 4, Episode 5. Those things kick. Well, yeah, they 5 more than anything kicks really kicks off, but 4 again, that opening shot that just pulls you in. This is arguing.
I mean, Star Wars is slow paced the first hour or so, but the beginning kind of gets you right into the world.
Yeah, there's this dude in all black, looks like a football helmet, and just like, what's going on here? All right, I'm interested. I guess they thought the same thing would happen with these fish people. Well, here's an explosion.
So this shot right here of where is it coming? The grate with the smoke coming out of it. That's the only shot in the entire film that doesn't have a visual effect, apparently.
What?
I always remember that from the audio commentary. It doesn't seem like, I feel like that can't be true, but apparently it is.
Dioxis.
This is cool when the sabers come out through the fog. I mean, that's a cool kind of. Ichuta. How rude. I like that. That's cool.
Yep. Through the smoke. Sure. Excuse me, dioxis.
It always bugs me how you can clearly see when they did reshoots with Ewan McGregor, because he'll go from hair like that, where it's kind of short and kind of buzz cutty, to like this kind of fluffy ginger kind of thing. It's like a flat top almost.
I can't see. This is how influenced I've been since the last 20 years. I can't help but have Plinkett-isms in my head. Like,
see that's one.
Space just came on.
I've never really watched that in its entirety, the whole Plinkett review.
It's so good.
It's not for me. I don't know. I think to quote George Lucas when he looked at the Phantom Menace for the first time, it may have gone a bit too far in a few places. It's like that bit, the segment where he's like asking people like describe the characters in Episode 1, and they're like, no, I don't agree with that. I don't. I think you can. I think that the film.
Well, go on.
I think Qui-Gon is a really good character, and I love that as well. The whole like putting the lightsaber through the door, just doing something different with the lightsaber that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the ginger hair.
Oh yeah, look at that. I don't know, like, why did they introduce the super speed one in this episode too? That was a little funky.
Yeah, I think it's just he wanted to show more of the Jedi powers in their prime, I suppose, because we had never really seen that when you think about it. Because Luke was never really fully trained, and Vader, Obi-Wan. I mean, it's just like a proper in his prime Jedi. This line where he's like, the negotiations were short, and he says it as if he's just delivered a great like joke, and it's just like, that's not that funny.
Yeah, the comedy kind of falls flat.
Yeah,
in absolute form in this movie.
But yeah, I think Qui-Gon is actually probably one of my favorite characters. I mean, I wouldn't put it top 10 or anything, but I really like what Liam Neeson did. And you can make the argument, you know, maybe Obi-Wan should have been that character. Maybe Obi-Wan should have been the guy who met Anakin and saw something in him, and you know, it would make their relationship much more storied throughout the whole 3 movies. But then I do like seeing Obi-Wan having his master and kind of going back even further with him. But I think that McGregor doesn't have much to work with in this one, especially that stretch where he's just on the ship for like half the movie.
Yeah.
Like all the action's happening on Tatooine, he's just back at the ship, just like, yeah, well, things are going okay.
I love when people say that Natalie Portman is terrible in this, but I don't think that's her decision to make her monotone like that. Like, you've seen her act before; she can act. I'm almost positive that's a Lucas decision to make her talk like that.
It must be, and you know, it's not like she never acted before. You think of Leon, you know, when she was much younger, she was great. I think he was really leaning into the whole the switch with her being the handmaiden and you know, not being just kind of to really distinguish the 2 characters, and so it comes across as quite stilted and
bad.
That's one way from there. Yeah. But like I think the hype probably, I mean, can't have helped when people finally saw this. I remember the first trailer coming out, and in the UK they showed it on this like morning TV show. I think it was GMT or something like that, or GMTV. And I taped it and was like, oh, fucking hell! Just rewatched the shit out of that. I mean, it was just insane.
Yeah.
And I think it's the one that ends with "wipe them out," all of them, and then it crescendos.
Yeah.
There's actually I think it must be the first series of Spaced. There's a scene in a dog pound where the woman who runs there is like, wipe them out, all of them, or something. And so they were already getting geared up for episode 1 and wanted to homage it, and then they saw the film. And then series 2 opens with Tim burning all of his Star Wars stuff. I think they say in the commentary, yeah, we referenced that before we realized it was shit.
Yeah, like, why not open with this, maybe? A shot of them storming a forest. Like,
well, that's another thing we could touch on, is the numerous efforts by fans to remake this film, remix it, re-edit it. There's the Phantom edit, which is talked about probably the most. I haven't seen any of them, to be honest, but especially once the entire prequel trilogy came out, then there's people kind of doing, you know, mixing the 3 films into one, or cutting out the first one altogether and just doing 2 and 3. I mean, how do you feel about that? Have you ever tried looking at one of those fan edits, or?
I clicked on one once, and I don't remember. I remember the runtime was like 2:58, and I was just like, wow, they're cutting out a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't.
All 3, I imagine.
Yeah. It was a. Yeah. So I haven't seen any cut of this movie alone, but yeah, I never really sat down and gave it a genuine watch, because I don't know. I guess because I know what's in the movie.
Sure. I feel like we're avoiding the Gungan in the room at this point.
It looks pretty bad, by the way. I don't remember it looking this terrible.
Yes, I don't think it's aged very well, but I will give George Lucas all the credit for pushing for this, because this is the first ever CGI character done on this scale.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's the line everyone always takes out of context, and it's funny that they do. But when in that documentary about the making of the film, he says Jar Jar is the key to all of this. What he means is, if we can make him work as a visual effect, then we can make the whole movie work with the visual effects. Because I mean, you see in that incredible making of documentary, I mean, that's a great look at, like, no holds barred look at the making of the film. The special effects guys are like, we don't have any way of doing this right now. You just want too much. But you know, you push the boundaries with it, and then you have things like Gollum, which would much more successfully kind of take the baton and run with it. But yeah, I think some of the visual effects, the CGI has not aged as well, for sure. But your opinion and thoughts on Jar Jar Binks?
It's
That,
descended.
that requires a, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's descended over time. I remember, like again, my first couple of watches. It's like, it's good. My argument always used to be, this is going back years now, decades. It always used to be, yeah, well, C-3PO is kind of annoying too. Like
Mm-hmm.
like this I don't know, false comparison. Um, but for as much as my or other people's arguments was, yeah, this is a kids movie. Um, the original trilogy kind of was, but it was still entertaining for adults. So
Yeah.
what's the excuse here? Why is it so childish and so ridiculous?
Well, that's one thing that I always appreciate. I remember coming out of Revenge of the Sith, not to jump ahead, and thinking, and thinking, it makes a bit more sense now. It's like it's setting up this arc of, it's really, really kind of fun and light at the beginning, not completely, of course, and then it gradually descends to like really fucking heavy at the end of episode 3.
Right.
And I like that. I like that it has that flow to it, where Anakin's a kid and everything is a bit goofy and fun, and then he's an adult and everything goes to shit. So I like that kind of the 3 acts of that story in a way. But again, you watch it as an adult now. I mean, I was 11 when I first saw it. I'm fucking 30 now. Jar Jar Binks stepping in shit isn't isn't doing anything for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've never really had a strong dislike for him. I can't
Yeah.
say I like him as a character. Like, oh yeah, Jar Jar, I can't wait for his next scene. But he's never really bothered me.
Well, like the ace comedy moment of episode 4, when Han, we're all fine. How are you? Like that makes everybody laugh. Like why do you have to play down, like you said, stepping in shit like that? That gets 4-year-olds laughing. Okay, and me.
I just wish I could see like footage of him like describing that to an animator.
Yeah.
Like what I want here is just like some like bantha poop and just make him step in it.
Tell you wrong. That's gonna take me half a week, sir.
And then like just like describing it to Ahmed Best, like you're gonna step in, like, just imagine you're stepping in dog crap and then you just go P Usa. Okay, George.
Yeah, like you can kind of tell that with the visuals, he's trying to, or they're trying to stroke themselves off. Like that was going to be the spectacle of this movie. Like, I mean, it does. It looks incredible. It's just, I don't remember the original. I keep comparing it to the original trilogy. It didn't lean so heavily on like these ooh and ah visuals. Those ooh and ah visuals actually managed to tell a bit of the story too. Like I referenced the opening shot. It gave you an idea of the power difference with just the size of the ships. It still helped the story, where this is just like wallpaper at this point.
I like this underwater world though. It's quite cool. I remember.
No, yeah, it looks awesome. It just
I remember like about 6 months to a year before it came out. What's his name? The guy who plays the boss Nass. Gordon's alive. What's his name? British legend. Anyway, he was talking about how he's in the film and that there's this water planet kind of, So I was expecting that episode 1 was going to be like underwater and all this kind of stuff, and it's not really in the film that much for obvious reasons, I suppose. But it's quite cool. And I like the element of it. It feels a bit like an adventure movie, like going through the planet core and stuff, and that's fun. I like that stuff.
Yeah, the lip shaking where he's literally letting out water through his mouth. I don't know.
Ye gods, what's Misa saying? Like that looks like a video game to me. Like that's but you can't really fault that. I mean, like if you look at this, I mean, this recalls like Aquaman. I mean, obviously it doesn't look as good. Just came out a few months ago, but like that kind of thing. This wasn't being done on that scale back then,
it's a great achievement in CGI. For the time, especially. But
it's just a lot of ambition, which is,
well,
which is what gets people to do it better and better, and then it all, I can't even understand the subtitles of what Jar Jar's saying.
Yeah, Den crashing
Hey,
Dave.
blibber.
Yeah, what? To see
So-
this here, like, do you really? There's no real tension to this. Well, especially now. Always a bigger fish.
Always a bit.
Misa Tinkween going back now. Yeah, that was neat. Was it necessary?
I don't know. Does everything need to be necessary? I think it's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
This scene, maybe not. It's just like. So I
Actually,
remember,
yeah, I take it back. As opposed to this, I'd rather fish eating fish.
I remember, like, when I first started hearing the inklings of people saying, "Oh, it's political trade disputes and all this." I remember thinking in my head, yeah, but like, you have like Star Wars where it opens up and she's like, I'm on a diplomatic mission and all this stuff. And then the next time I watched it, I was like, oh God, there is a lot of it, isn't there?
George must have been watching a lot of court dramas or something. He was writing this. I don't know.
But I do like the political themes in the prequel trilogy once we get to like the third film.
Sure.
And in particular, mainly just the thread of Palpatine throughout the three films.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the little extraneous scenes, perhaps not, Like that little cut there where we cut back to those guys and the Emperor, and then we just cut back to this. Like, this should have just continued as like its standalone action scene, perhaps.
Right.
But then again, I don't know. Who am I to say, really?
Or any of us.
Or any of us, yeah.
Yeah.
And thinking about the visual effects, oh, I forgot there was more of this. Okay.
Yeah. See, like that's the other thing. Like I can tell you about the Maul scene. The lightsaber fight at the end. This, I forgot there was a second half. So just like you said.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember there's always a bigger fish because it has that stupid, goofy line at the end of it. See, that shot there just seemed like the same one we just saw, where they go down into the.
Yeah, they probably just. I think it was a reverse angle of the other shot.
I don't think it was. This in general was cool, just seeing different locations in a Star Wars film, and part of the appeal was just it being another Star Wars film, something we hadn't seen. Though it's different for me because I grew up on the original trilogy, like circa 1995, so I didn't really have a long wait. But I remember finishing.
Likewise,
I remember finishing the original trilogy and being aware that there was never going to be any more. Those happened in the 80s, and that was it. And a family friend told me they were making another, and I was like, nah, there's no way. And then it happened, and I didn't really have that kind of gap to kind of,
I actually am a bit younger on the original trilogy. I think I started watching it in '97 because they were re-released to theaters.
Is that when you first saw them?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I was like, all right, you know what? Let me just see what the big deal is.
Yeah.
And I got hooked.
Mm. So have you ever seen the originals then? The
originals?
Yeah.
No.
Ah.
I saw the special editions as an intro.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's false. I think I saw one of them because one of my friends had like old VHS copy of I think it was Jedi maybe. But there's stuff that I don't. Yeah, it had to be Jedi because I know I saw the original. Whatever actor was Darth Vader at the end there.
Okay. Yeah. And I feel like that was like a dry run for George. I'm like, okay, let's see if I can do the effects I want to do for a prequel trilogy by putting some new ones into the original trilogy. And then he's just endlessly tinkered with the films.
The other thing that the small little thing about Force Awakens that made me, I don't know, have a little bit more hatred, disdain towards this trilogy is everything here looks so clean. And the one thing that you associate with episodes 4 through now, there was this like, you know, lived in this dirty, this, you know,
Yeah.
this rundown world where this is just everything's so gorgeous.
Yeah. But that's also an interesting contrast as well. You can almost look at like this is what the galaxy was like before the Empire.
Sure.
But at the same time, there is even like technology just that is so much more advanced than what you see, which is
yeah. He does kind of retrofit it there at the end of 3 too, where it's like the ship started looking like. You know,
yeah.
It's just like, oh, what why?
Which is interesting when I think about it, because like I'm thinking about I mean, we're going to go off topic on the actual film itself, but I remember like the screens in Empire Strikes Back on Hoth, like these like plate glass with like lines on them and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see those again in The Last Jedi on the ship, and it feels in tune with everything else. And then here we have like the holographic stuff coming in. You know, it's just like, well, now we can do that, so let's do that. See, I've been playing Battlefront 2 in this like area, so I'm just like kind of recognizing everything. It's like, oh yeah, that bit. I like the battle droids; they're fun. I think it's like an interesting analog for the stormtroopers in a sense. Kind of just again faceless, you know, drones.
The fucking thing says, wait. Wait.
And this was kind of cool too, just seeing Jedi's running around with lightsabers and like slashing up droids and stuff. And I think what I wanted to see when it came to like Jedi's back in the days of the Jedi was kind of more what we got in Episode 2 at the end, where there's just hundreds of them running around. Like that was what I kind of wanted, but it starts a bit slower than that, which is fine.
Wait, why is Jar Jar? Oh, Jar Jar's with them because he's going to try to.
I forget actually.
Yeah, we're watching it. And
we're not really watching.
Yeah, Boss Noss, whatever the shit his name is, sent him to so that they can have a more peaceful unity or something.
Now we have another introduction of a character.
Yep. Worthless. There it is.
I don't seem to ever remember owning a droid. See, I remember the guy there at the controls. I always remember from Wayne's World. I had to beat them to death with their own shoes.
I wouldn't go on stage that night. Yeah, if you're gonna treat a droid like a hero, you gotta have a moment of silence for the fallen droids, no?
Remember the fallen. I remember that, like, the Hutts, like, ooh. And then we never release. Well, we do see them actually, don't we, in the pod racing scene?
Yeah, that's
briefly.
That's really it.
Yeah.
You have the shoehorn handy? Okay.
So that is effectively the title of the movie right there, The Phantom Menace. And I like that. I mean, you only really get it towards the end of the film, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But I do like how Palpatine is used towards the end of the film. And here we have Darth Maul. So he's a character who is a huge fan. I know you're a particular fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought it was cool, but it was like almost like a Boba Fett thing to me, you know.
Yes.
Although I would say that Darth Maul is a little bit more impressive and badass than Boba Fett, but
no, you're not wrong. It's kind of like somebody who loves Phasma now. It's just like
Right, yeah. So this isn't Natalie Portman, is it? This is
no, this is Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, yeah.
Got a much longer face.
Mm.
I mean, I'll take either. But
I know Sophia Coppola is one of them as well.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, could that be Sophia Coppola to her right there?
Perhaps, yeah. I think she's wearing one of those hoods or something in one scene, anyway. Take a shot every time someone says Trade Federation.
Ugh. You're just trying to get drunk.
Husa Ayusa. There's a lot of like great making of material on the DVD and everything, and there's a video of George Lucas sitting down in his office to write the thing in like 1994, and he sits down at his desk and he just goes, "Now all I need is an idea," and he just kind of like stretches back, and I just imagine him sitting there going, "Husa Ayusa."
She says you're a Gungan, aren't you? You can't tell.
He's like, no, I just didn't wear any suntan.
No, my name's Fred.
Hey, you can't use that word. Only we use that word. Do you use the G word? Seriously?
Oh man, you land breathers with the racism.
And here we have Obi-Wan just kind of relegated to just tinkering.
Tinkering. Yeah.
But one thing I've always liked about this film is the practicality of it. I mean, we talked about how much CGI is used, but this is by far the most practical of the three prequels as far as the sets, locations. They actually went back to Tunisia to do this stuff. And it's shot on film as well.
Yeah.
The 2 and 3, they have this kind of like this kind of digital sheen to them. It's a bit too clean at times, the way it looks. Because most of it is made in a computer. Oh, here we go. Moment of the film right here.
If you weren't laughing before.
But this stuff, like you see the Queen, coming into this area that she never would have before, seeing how poorer people live, and that's kind of, oh, ooh, icky, icky goo. Sloshing sound. All right.
Wait, was that CGI shit too?
Yep.
Wow. All right.
But this is another kind of Kurosawa influence from Hidden Fortress. Have you seen Hidden Fortress?
We watched it together, but yes.
We did. Okay, yeah. Forgot about that. So when the princess is being taken through, on an adventure, and she sees how the other kind of class lives, obviously much better film. Hidden Fortress. I like Watto. He's fun. Definitely a stereotype, though. And the Chosen One. Thoughts on Jake Lloyd? Now, it's kind of sad what happened to him, really, or what has happened to him.
Oh, yeah, he's kind of descended.
I mean, no one really deserves that. That's just
no.
I remember in the making of, and if you haven't seen it, by the way, I think Star Wars have uploaded it to their YouTube channel, so you can see it. It's like an hour long, and it's just like, it's great. But there's a scene where he sat there signing his contract, and he's surrounded by all these adults, like their eyes are literally like gleaming, and it's like, I don't know, it's a little bit,
yeah.
And when they were casting Anakin, they got down to a few, and there was one who looked a lot more like Mark Hamill, in a sense, like a younger version almost. You can feel the family connection visually. But George was saying, that one kid, I'd need to cut around his performance a bit more. I'd have to coach him more,
Really?
So yes, so it never felt like, at least from that footage, that they were like, he's the one. Like that's the, there was like we have two here. There's pros and cons with both, and obviously they went with Jake Lloyd. And
I'm a person.
hot take, I really don't mind him. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's terrible. But at the same time, it's just tough. It's just tough.
I'll say that he could be directed better.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Some of the lines, it's like, is that your best take, really?
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, that you should really be stepping in there and going, well, one more.
Yeah.
More on this, more on that, and
faster, more intense.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. It's widely, publicized, stated by everyone who's worked with him. He's not really. What was it? Harrison Ford said he's a little impatient with the process of acting. That was a quote. Ford said, to George, I've written it, so just say it, like do that, Sometimes it's not as easy as just saying it, and
oh yeah, anybody who's tried writing something, and then you tried, like, if you've ever tried scripting and then read it, like, oh no, that's not English.
There's something kind of like comical and frustrating about how he tries this mind trick on him, and he's just like, no, I'm a Toydarian, that doesn't work on me. It's just like, it's kind of funny because he just kind of gets blocked, but at the same time, it's like, oh, so just this weird little creature can suppress the force of a Jedi Master.
Yeah, they never go to it again. It's just like, oh, really? Yeah, see, like here, Natalie Portman has a certain charm about her. Like,
yeah, I think she does. I mean, it's such a contrast from when she's in the get-up as the queen.
I'm the queen. This thing on my head is weighing down my acting ability.
Yippee! That's another element, is you take like the most iconic villain in movie history, and you have him as a little boy going yippee.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't think how can I phrase this? I don't think I needed this story, to be honest. I mean, I like the prequel. I love the prequels, to be honest, but I prefer the notion of like imagining in my head what Vader was like before all that, having it actually spelled out, seeing him as a young kid,
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, and to piggyback exactly what you're saying, without the Kylo Ren arc that we're currently 2/3 of the way through, that they're showing that you could show somebody being a bit immature, and like, the immature swings of somebody with power. We're seeing it done, in real time right now, in a much better fashion. I think they're, neat idea, but the execution is leaves much to be desired. Like I said, I wouldn't have noticed it so much before Force Awakens and Last Jedi, but now that we have this Kylo Ren arc, it's just like, oh yeah, that's the way Anakin should have been. Yeah,
I think that there are really good to great moments in Anakin's story throughout these 3 films.
Sure.
But the entire story, there's it goes up and down, and so I mean, deep down, heart of hearts, I don't think I needed to see the story, but at the same time, I love Star Wars, and I do like having him fleshed out a bit more. But it's just, if I was to really think about it, I'd be more in favor of not seeing it, I suppose. But I'll take it because it's there, and I.
Ironically, I think the best moment for Anakin and the entire trilogy is when he's done killing everybody in Episode 3, and he just got that one tear down his cheek. Pretty powerful.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if this could have been much different. If we were to take this exact this exact writing of Anakin in this film, and had a much better child performer cast, would he be able to have made that stuff work better? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Sandstorms are very, very dangerous. Like,
All right, good. Print it. George, you sure? You want to get another one, maybe?
I feel like George Lucas stepped in to direct the death scene of Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises. Like, one take, yep, got it.
Yeah.
Now, I forget her name, but I like the actress who plays Shmi.
Shmoo?
Okay, so this is another interesting thing. Even as a kid, I wasn't a fan of this. Anakin having built C-3PO.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've already established in Empire Strikes Back that this is kind of like a basic model. It's not like a unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of all the droids in all the galaxy, the one that we see in the original trilogy is the one that was built by Anakin.
Right.
Like, there's a degree in which you do the whole, it's like poetry, they rhyme. I don't think this is it.
Yeah.
It's just a bit odd. Like, I don't mind it, but it's quite shoehorned in there. And
to be generous, shoehorned.
Holy shit, that little like wooden model he had on his desk looked like Maz from Force Awakens. And then of course we have the C-3PO R2-D2 meeting. I think the reason is because he always wanted, at least with the original trilogy, to have the story told from the perspective of the droids. Like, wherever the main story is, a droid is there. You know, even when they split off in Empire, R2 is with Luke, 3PO is with the other crew.
Yeah.
There's always that element. And so I guess he wanted to continue that with this one, and so he needed a way for 3PO to kind of be somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah. Jedi's talking on walkie-talkie.
And then this was cool to see the city planet Coruscant, which I believe, I don't know if George Lucas came up with this, because it was a location that's used a lot in the expanded, or was it the expanded universe novels? I don't know what they call it now, that Disney have, pushed all that under the carpet. Like, no, that's not canon. But there's quite a few books in which this is one of the main locations. So I don't know whether George is like, oh, I'll use that. It's pretty nice, expansive living quarters for slaves.
Sure. Yeah. More spacious than my kitchen, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, kid, don't try to get me into your hobbies.
That's a pretty good visual effect there, like the timing of it.
Sure.
I think any scene that Anakin has with Qui-Gon, I kind of like. I feel like Liam Neeson brought out the best he had in him, I think. I don't know. Still not great, but I think that's maybe it's just him. I'm just projecting, like, he's really good, and so it makes the scene more watchable.
Yeah. His 80% makes it. Yeah. Why does this kid know so much about everything?
I remember reading that, like, around the time the internet was first, like, around, that there was this rumor about, like, the new Star Wars film, and Anakin Skywalker was like a kind of junkyard kid who was good at fixing things. And
He's kind of Mary Sue-ish, no? I can fix anything. I'll accidentally fly a ship that has no business.
No, but he's male, so we don't count.
Oh yeah, it doesn't count. Yeah,
No.
it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
No problem here. Nothing to see here.
I mean, I can speak to when I first watched this. I was invested at this point. I was like, okay, he's going to do something really dangerous. Like he's going to try and help these people, you know. And then when the bet comes into it as well, I think when Qui-Gon makes a deal, and I was really invested in it, like not just the visuals of this pod race, but like you know if he's going to win it, and you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of it's kind of strange when I do watch the pod race. There's one thing that you can sing the praise of with this movie, and it's if you have a sound system.
I was going to say sound design.
That pod race is incredible. Or even when they're like, when they're on the starting line, the vroom, vroom. Like I remember in the theater, like you could feel the air from the audio. It was like, oh man,
awesome.
this is neat. It's 20 years ago you're going back.
I did end up actually seeing this in the cinema in 2012. They released it in 3D.
Oh, right.
And so, and I think the plan was to actually do one a year, and then they left it out of Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I don't approve. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of 3D, but it was actually pretty decent, and it was cool to see it on the big screen. But it was mainly to me, it was like, okay, I want to see the pod race on the big screen. That was the main kind of sell to me, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that scene really holds up because it's CGI of like, you know, vehicles and things. It's not like the kind of like Jar Jar where it's like flesh and stuff, where it does look a bit by today's standards not as good.
Mm-hmm. Qui-Gon bluffing.
But yeah, you do want. I do wonder, like, what would it have been like if it was Obi-Wan in this situation?
Yeah,
because it would. Again, I like having Obi-Wan's master, you know, and I like how at the end of 3, it's like Obi-Wan gets to learn from him how to, you know, retain himself after he dies and everything. But I do think that it would make the ending of 3 even more emotional, I think.
And it's not like New Hope, where like he didn't have foresight. Like he knew he was making 3 of these. Like, you know, well, like why there's stopgaps. Like Qui-Gon's a stopgap. Darth Maul is a stopgap. Why not just build that relationship even more? It's a good point.
Because I mean, really, the only interaction they have is Obi-Wan Kenobi meet Anakin Skywalker, and then Qui-Gon's trying to get him, you know, accepted, and Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't bother with this kid." You know, like he's not really interested in this kid.
He's a bit of a pissant in this movie. He's just sticking around, tinkering with shit. He's stuck at the ship, just like, well, I don't like the idea. Yeah. He knows nothing of greed. You precious thing.
Well, there you go. Like, you know, or tell me something about the characters in Episode 1. Well, Anakin, he's a kid who's quite selfless and, you know, has quite a strong opinion on slavery and freedom, based on
because he's a fucking slave. Of course he does.
But he has, you know, he has traits. Whether they're performed very well is a completely different. You know, I don't like this notion that the characters are completely blank, one-dimensional.
Well,
I think that there is.
They play it up for comedy in that video, but
absolutely. And this kind of part of the story where he doesn't have a father.
Sweetheart, do you happen to know Bill Cosby by any chance? Just because you don't remember doesn't mean it didn't happen.
So I guess the implication there is that the Force conceived him.
Sure.
There was a comic that just came out recently. I don't read them, but it implied that Palpatine created him. There's like this image in the comic where it's like this phantom of the Emperor, kind of like this over Shmi or something like that, like creating the. And then like the person who wrote it, I think, was like, oh, well, it's just like, what could have happened or something like that. I don't know. I find that theory quite outlandish, really.
And here I am intrigued by it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if we look at the through line from 1 to 6, because that was, George's thing.
The tragedy of Anakin. Yeah,
yeah, and that he's this chosen one who ultimately brings a temporary balance to the Force.
20 years.
Yeah. So if you go by that kind of logic of him being the chosen one, it stands to reason that he was kind of created of the Force. And you can kind of draw parallels to the Bible there, actually, with the the Virgin Mary and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is just a lot of Jar Jar comedy going on here. My tongue is fat.
Mm.
You're quite right. He's very odd indeed.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose as I was saying, he has very strong feelings towards slavery and freedom, which obviously any slave would, but he wants to act upon it and put his life at stake for it, which defines him quite a bit as a character. And this scene here, where he's talking about how he wants to, he wants to get out there, he wants to see the galaxy and everything. I like that bit where coming up where he's about to say, like, how many stars are there or whatever. I want to be the first one to see them all. And you see this kind of like this optimism that we see a little bit of in Luke, and then knowing where it's heading is quite sad. And we're about to hit the old Midi-chlorian introduction. How do you feel about that? I think everyone has the same opinion, really.
Well, go on.
I think most people share the opinion that it's a bit arbitrary to kind of quantify like a number count on how strong someone is in the Force. Like, I don't know. It almost feels like a kind of trading card game to me, where it's like Yoda, 3,000 points. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even Master Yoda doesn't have a midi-chlorian count that high.
Yeah.
I suppose it's a way to for them to know. I mean, obviously Qui-Gon could sense that, he might have something in the Force in him, but then to actually have like a scientific breakdown of, he's like really powerful.
Yeah.
Like, I guess where it's coming from, but then you're just literally you're kind of boiling it down to just like a number, which is a bit.
It's hard to compare it to something that's come out since it, but like I said, what they're doing right now with Rey achieves it way better. The way she like just stumbles across that ability. She's like, I don't like when she flies the Falcon. She's like, I don't know. Like, it's this thing that's in you that you're not,
Yeah.
It's hard to, it's like, all right, well, let's learn from the mistakes that were made here. It's hard to compare it to something that's come out after. But
I mean, we'll certainly get to the Force Awakens, but like the idea of like, well, how can he do this and that, and because they're strong in the Force, I think the way I kind of think about it is like it's like insane reflexes. It's like you're seeing what's about to happen, like almost in slow motion. You're able to kind of get into the right spot, whether it's moving the ship, whether it's fighting with a lightsaber,
No funny business. It's your race. Take it easy.
Like the production design is pretty good too. Like the background and stuff, and all that stuff going on. And again, a lot more of the practical sets and things.
Yeah.
like design wise, visual wise, you know, dated CGI notwithstanding, I think all three are really great. Then it's the characters that inhabit them that leave a bit to be desired at times. But I think for sure, having grown up on this and loving it, I think it helps. You know, I have that nostalgia. I guess the prequels were kind of my Star Wars films to grow up with, like in present time, and so it's a little bit different for me. And you actually see a lot now, like these days. There's a huge kind of fan base for the prequels. Like people love the prequels, and it's those people who were my age who are now in their 30s,
right,
who are now being more vocal about it. You know, so it's hard to wrestle away that nostalgia. I think it's hard for me to look at this and go, oh, what a shit film, because to me it just isn't. I can absolutely recognize a lot of its flaws for sure, but I mean, would you ever watch this independently, just like I'm going to stick on Phantom Menace?
I think before we started doing this, I told you I wanted to, well, I guess not independently, I wanted to go 1 through 9, just to
part of the whole experience. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
so I guess that doesn't count.
Yeah, I don't think I'd sit down and just watch Phantom Menace. I'd do it as part of like, let's watch 1, 2, 3 or whatever. But
right.
But it's not a film that I sit down and go, ugh. You know, I do kind of, I enjoy it. You know,
I don't mind it from about 20 minutes from now out. The beginning's a bit of a chore. It's not that great.
Not that great.
And it's you nailed it on the head with Maul and the Boba Fett comparison. There's just nothing to his character. He's just awesome looking. he's got a cool lightsaber and he looks cool. That's really it. He's got what, 2 lines, 3 lines?
Voiced by Peter Serafinowicz of Spaced fame. You shot me in the bollocks, Tim.
Oh, that's him? Huh.
Yeah. He has a really interesting, I think it's on YouTube, he talks about his, being a huge Star Wars fan and getting to do this, and how he was kind of like not that happy with how it turned out. I think he wanted to go to the premiere and he had to like pay his own way and stuff. Like,
oh, really?
Spent all his money flying to Los Angeles or something like that. And then seeing the film and just being like, huh. That's kind of funny.
Oh, that shot looks shit. What was that?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Didn't clean it all up.
So I don't know. Well, I don't know. I was thinking I'd be alright with like a prequel special edition, like just do some of the. But then again, it's not like this film is.
It would be 20 minutes by that.
Huh?
We're gonna clean it up. Here it is. It's 20 minutes long now. Add new characters in. This is such a shame I'm not watching this with the audio one. This whole sequence is just like ear porn.
You know, Cody Rhodes,
the wrestler, sure.
Yeah. He's like a huge fan of this film, and he tweeted about a year ago, I think, that he was watching this and he teared up seeing 3PO carrying Anakin's flag. And I'm just like, I wish I loved it that much, like.
Wow. Oh, that rotten Sebulba.
I like Sebulba. He's a fun villain. Like, I can't understand half of what he's saying, but
it is just so cartoony.
Yeah.
Like if this were animated, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, makes sense. Darth Vader just said, whoa.
I mean, I don't want to hop on about it, but like this is very much a fatherly kind of relationship developing.
Yeah,
which is essentially where the Obi-Wan thing was going. Yeah, here we go. I remember for the longest time there was a rumor that Mark Hamill was what's his name there with the fucking the tentacle on his head. What's his name?
Snake face, whatever.
Bib,
Yeah.
Bib Fortuna. Wanawanga. And I remember thinking, is that Mark Hamill? And then no, it's not. And CGI Jabba the Hutt, there's just never been good in any incarnation from the multiple attempts they did at the special edition to this one. Which is kind of why I'm glad they haven't done a Hutt yet in the new films. Because I could see them going CGI and it'd be yeah, interesting.
Well, I don't know. JJ in that cantina, same shit. There was that great big fat dude. So
true, yeah.
With the chick that ends up telling. Excuse me, I'm assuming her gender, but the female looking person that ends up telling the First Order.
The gender binary character who.
Yeah, they're aliens after all, so who knows?
Yeah. What's that thing? That kind of thing with Solo, where I think Donald Glover or someone said that Lando is what is the term? It's not asexual. I think that's someone who is not interested in sex.
Yeah, it's not pansexual either. It's,
I think it was pansexual.
It was pansexual.
It was something where, like, you know, and it's just like, well, yeah, it's everyone's an alien, you know.
Yeah,
unless you're from the same planet.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated when I first saw this. Like, you know, I was just hooked in, like, completely.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, 11 years old. It's easy to get.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, yeah.
I remember him from that marathon I watched. Anything else? No, nothing else. Engine clicking, whirring.
I think my love of this scene also stems from the game that I had on Nintendo
64. Sure.
Yeah, I remember staying home from school one day when I was ill and just playing that game like for 8 hours straight. It's just a great action scene.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, like the point of view shot here is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was kind of the consensus after why the Dutch angle there. But after a while, it's just like, well, the pod racing scene was awesome.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I mean, I don't know how this movie fares if this sequence is taken out of it, and you have to wait until the very end to have a really cool action scene, you know.
Idiot. Speaking in Tuscan dialect. You mean? Racist.
Chispa wata. Chabani chisabulba. I mean, I do like that there is like alien dialogue and stuff. I mean, that goes back to the originals as well.
Listen, if I were deaf, I'd be thoroughly frustrated right now because I'm reading these subtitles like, wait, what?
I find that funny. Just like, just the gluttony of just like, fuck you.
Later.
Yeah, I think this is a really well done sequence because you have the great action, but I really like the way it cuts to certain aspects of it, like the crowd getting amped up and stuff, and then you got like the people on the sidelines, the Tusken Raiders, you know, people who are watching or people who are ready with a gun to start shooting people. Just a really nicely edited and staged sequence.
Sure. You could tell this is probably the best scene because we've both been pretty quiet for a lot of us.
Yeah. Just getting wrapped up in it. Like.
Yeah. You just got random parts just sitting around loose. There you go. I think I know why Sabolo keeps winning. Not dizzy at all, huh? Interesting. There's Midi-chlorians coming in. It's just like all this tech. It's just like, sure, that does that thing. All right, that's a magnet to get the cable thing back in. Sure, I'm game. Whatever. No explanation. Just this does that thing. Do you really care? Do you really care?
And the big influence on this scene, of course, is the Ben-Hur chariot race. There's quite a not so subtle reference to that coming up. I just love this idea that like they've set the racetrack up as like, yeah, you might get shot at, you know, there might be someone there who like will try and snipe you. That's a great shot. It's never boring. Like the choices of shots are always different, viewpoints, perspectives.
Yeah, the POV stuff really neat. Even that was like third person for a hot second. His face just like shit. No.
Watch out. I think that was a digital Anakin then. Did he crash it? Gotta get the Jawas.
Routini. Which, let's call it spade a spade. Those Jawas are probably dead today.
Forgot how long this actually goes on for.
Yeah.
Really impressive.
There are moments where it does look a little video gamey.
Oh, sure.
And even that, like, you just like, all right, well, these logos on the screen, and now he's plugging a wire into like, I don't know what any of this means, but
bleep,
sure.
Bloop.
Yeah. There's a snake logo that's blinking. I guess that means he's a fire or something. Like there's no real set path. It's just like
Right,
dip
yeah.
in and out the rocks here and Inca Bunga.
Inca Bunga, dude. I love that shot there. I don't know what it is, just the kind of, I don't know. There we go, the Ben Hur bit with the chariots locking.
Mm. Oops.
Ah, so fucking cool.
Yippee.
I like how his ship just kind of just like splits off and just crumbles and explodes, and then you just have him on the little thing, just like shit.
Sliding to a stop.
See, that's another thing, how they give him the nickname Annie, which, all right, I can see it, but I mean, again, we're calling Darth Vader Annie.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like...
Well, he's coming with you. Oh, because you won a race?
Rebellions are built on hope.
I don't think I don't think the people that are hopeless were at this race. I'm just we could be the downer. That doesn't make sense. There's a first of a moronic statement by the Jedi in this trilogy. Whenever you gamble, eventually you lose. Says the guy who just gambled.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Oh, fucking that statement always gets me. That statement is an absolute, you cunt.
Oh, Obi-Wan, I forgot he was in this.
Oh, yeah.
Still wearing his robe, still trying to feel important, you know, like, I'm a Jedi, you know. It'd be funny if they just saw like Obi-Wan hanging out in jeans and like it's like disillusioned with everything.
You're not the boss of me. Just referred to him as a pathetic life form.
Yes.
Well, you're going to think way worse in the future, buddy. Oh, this is like 4 coins. We're rich. And I can get murdered by testing.
Is he to become a Jedi? Yes. Yes, that's exactly what this is. Imagine George writing that. Is he to become a Jedi? Well, yes.
That's it. Give a 8-year-old a choice. Life-changing choice. Do you remember last week when you thought you wanted chicken, but then you ended up eating tuna? that was a big decision for you. Oh no, no, no. I sold her to the Raiders. I hope so.
That would be a very dark, deleted scene when Watto's like, what should I do with the mother? Just sell her off to the Tusken Raiders. I'm only interested in the chosen one, sorry.
Hey, you know, I'm still a slave, just for the record. Still stuck.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Dick.
I wonder, like, if what system is in place to keep the slaves there? Because I mean, wouldn't they just be like, let's just take you? Like, we'll just leave. Like, you can come with us, and we'll just, you know.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they like maybe they have like, you know, like bracelets or something like that, you know, blow up or something. I don't know, some kind of security measure.
Mm-hmm. Weird choice there. Having why are we in C-3PO's POV here?
Yeah, that's
Odd choice. Wait, what?
yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't line up with anything else we've
Yeah,
seen. It's
kind of jarring.
yeah.
He's got an actual book bag. What's up? It's got the loop on top and everything. Like, where you're hanging up. Come on, you're not even trying. That's an Earth book bag.
An Earth book bag.
Oh, now you're crying.
This scene does get me. Obviously, when I watch it, you know, properly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really well done. I think particularly the John Williams score is really nice here.
Yeah, the John Williams score, with it completely void, is just like,
yeah,
it does so much work, especially in the third one. And I love that score in the third one. All right, well, I'm stuck. Have fun.
I think a lot of people could relate to this, like, you know, leaving home, saying goodbye to your parents, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously exaggerated to the point where you would not see them for years and go off to a different planet and stuff. And then that becomes, obviously for him, a huge part of his character is his concern for his mother, which plays into the second one, obviously.
Right.
But I relate to that a lot because it was just me and my mum for most of my childhood. So that scene always kind of resonates with me. And I think she does a really good job of, like, you know, much like Liam Neeson with his scenes with Anakin, kind of holds the weight of everything.
Sure.
I had that toy, the little bike he's got there. It's a great meme where it's like Anakin drop and he's like, what? And then directed by George Lucas. I think here I was like, you know, oh yes, all right, yeah, and then it kind of is over before it's even begun.
Yeah. I mean, the more I watch, the more I'm like, yeah, it's just it's pretty rapping. That's all it is. Vader. Excuse me, Maul is. One of the things that they bring up in the one of the things that they bring up in the Red Letter Media review is how the lightsaber scenes are used sparingly. There's not much with lightsaber scenes, and in this prequel trilogy, it's just so like they bring their lightsabers out. Like in the opening shot, they have a word of issue, and their first thing is they bring up lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's their first action. Is it's just the contrast is comical. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it means a bit more when it's used less.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, again, we're dealing with a world where the Jedi are more prolific.
Yeah. That's right. That is a good point. In the original trilogy, the Jedi and the Force is all ancient religion. So yeah, it would make sense for it to be a little more reserved.
I think they're both good points. I think that there would be more lightsaber action because the Jedi are around a bit more. But I also think that there is something to be said for not going to that well all the time.
Yeah.
So the Anakin Padme romance. I don't know the ages of the actors here, but
she's 19. she's my age.
Yeah. I think from something I've read, I think he's supposed to be around 10 and she's supposed to be about 14. I think that's the age gap there.
Oh, really?
So I think episode 2 is about 10 years later, so he'd be 20, she'd be 24. She's certainly meant to be like a teenage queen, like that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which she kind of passes for, I suppose. Kind of.
I always, she's quite charming. She's got a charisma about her. There's movies that she did as a 15-year-old where she's like, man, I shouldn't have the feelings I'm feeling right now. She's, really good. Charisma, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And Closer? Oh, man. Have you seen Closer?
I've seen bits of Closer.
Oh, really? Oh. Bits, wink, wink.
Yes.
No, she's quite charismatic in that movie.
No, I've seen about half of it, I think, on TV.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the full thing.
Sounds like a Jude Law movie that I don't know.
Like the scope of that's pretty cool. Like that bit, like a fucking city planet.
Oh, the lights and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do like that little thing he gives it a little. I mean, I like the idea of it more than perhaps the acting, but I believe in her funeral she has that around her neck, which is really nice.
We'll get to it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how
the man.
There are certain shots that Lucas really pulled things off. It's just like, man, just have them talk less, man. Shit.
See, this stuff is like Cloud City on crack, It's just like...
Hey, Ian.
I love how he always has this kind of smugness to him, this kind of like...
Sure.
This kind of self-satisfied look on his face. I mean, he is far and away one of my, if not favorite, then top like 2 or 3 favorite things about the whole prequel trilogy. Is his performance and everything that goes on with his character, specifically in the third one. But there's actually the first day of shooting, I believe, was a scene with Padme and Palpatine, and you see George after the shooting, and he's like, yeah, it went well. Ian's great. Ian's always great, but and it really makes you think that he is a great actor, and so perhaps he really did just nail it on the first take. And so George is like, oh, I'm happy with that. I don't have to do any directing. And then you have the younger actors, Jake Lloyd in particular. Not so much.
Not that good.
Yeah, I'm just the CGI obviously is of its time, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's not offensively bad.
No,
I mean,
like I like the art design of it and everything. It's
pretty
cool. Actually, reminded me a little bit of Metropolis in that shot,
which I still haven't revisited. Oh, it's in my custody finally. Yeah,
This stuff as a kid is just like.
I literally was just gonna say, if you're 10 and you're watching this, what is happening right
See,
now?
that's the thing. I don't mind it as part of the story, but
words like bureaucrats, I
Right.
think I still don't know what that word means.
Sure, but I think, I don't mind the goofier, childlike aspects of this film. I don't mind the more political aspects, but it does feel like a conflict of interest
Yeah,
there.
meet in the middle.
It's like pick a side or kind of blend them a little bit better. Where kids have no idea what's going on in these scenes and then enjoy all the goofy stuff, and then the adults are kind of like, what are they enjoying?
Yeah, that looks bad. The background looks terrible.
Oh God, yeah, Jesus Christ, that's yeah. But again, the ambition and the scope of it, I have to admire at least.
Not done for HD.
And we have digital Yoda. So that was obvious. I think they might have done.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah,
they might have done this. I think. Don't quote me on this. I think they might have done this as kind of like a test run for episode 2. Like, show me you can do this, and do over the episode 1 scenes.
I never noticed there's like a secondary Yoda person over there too.
Yeah, Yaddle, I think his name, or something like that.
Oh yeah,
something like that. Yeah. I remember like learning all the names of the tertiary characters when I was a kid. Ki-Adi-Mundi, I believe, is the guy on the left. I'm going to quote here. I remember before this came out, Sam Jackson saying how much he desperately wanted to be in the new Star Wars film, and he said, I want George Lucas to cast me in this film, and not verbatim. He's like, I'll play anything. I'll play Luke Skywalker's slave.
What?
Interesting choice of words there, but I like him. I like him as Mace Windu. He's a cool. He fits the kind of Jedi persona, I think.
And again, we'll revisit this in 2 movies, but I think it goes back to the direction. Sam Jackson can hold his own. Some of his line delivery, especially in 3, is just like, is that the best take?
Man, that Yoda looks good. Maybe they did it after the fact, even, because it almost looks better than.
Wasn't there a shitty? Wasn't one of the movies where they had a puppet? Did they go back?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was the one, and they special editioned it quietly without really telling anyone, and just put it on the Blu-ray. So in a sense, we are watching episode 1, the special edition. Oh, you'll see her again.
Yeah, you see lots of her.
Well,
just stay away from the sand, hey, buddy. Hey.
and this is where it gets really thick on the old
politics,
senator sovereign system. Oh, are we gonna try and find the little pod with all the ET aliens that connects the Star Wars ET cinematic universe? When ET sees a Yoda costume and goes home.
Hey, if this is Fox. They had a chance to tie in either Alien or Predator too. Who knew that you should have been CUing everything? By CU, I mean cinematic universe. Nothing. Political jargon. Senate Republic. Just ugh.
Yeah, it kind of grounds to a halt a bit here, doesn't it? It's just not as.
Bureaucrat. I like that he's just kind of explaining.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's completely worthless, but it just the film kind of just really slows down here when it feels like it should be quickening.
You were elected queen?
See, even the cat's bored of this.
Mm. Oh wait, what?
I mean, Terrence Stamp here. You know, I mean, we met him like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like, were we meant to care that he's just been pushed out of some sort of?
Just like that, huh? She says, I think this guy just sucks at his job. All right, now we'll vote. Wait, what?
I love this shot. This is a really good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Not this one, but when you see the sunset in the background.
Again, that the land hasn't aged well.
No, but it almost looks like an old matte painting. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is an interesting concept that Anakin is far too old to be, you know, training.
How feel you?
I remember that guy on the right. I suppose we might not see him now. Plo Koon, I believe his name is. It's just and that's like the Boba Fett Darth Maul thing to the extreme. Where I remember people online were like, Plo Koon, like he's the fucking shit. And I think he dies in episode 3, like his ship blows up, and I was like, no, I can't believe that. I'm just like, he's in the film for like 1.8 seconds. What are you like? Where's this coming from?
Has no close-ups.
I think that's him anyway. It looks remarkably like him. Yeah, the puppet Yoda just didn't cut it. It's like they tried to go, okay, he's younger, and then they just made him look almost completely different. And it's like, yeah, he's 900 years old. I don't think he's going to age that much in about 30 years. I think he's done like most of his aging by this point, you know. Once you get to 850, that's kind of peter out a bit.
You know, we could tell if you're anything to judge.
He's so happy. Surprised to be sure, but a welcome one.
Alderaan.
Looking for love in all the wrong places. I love him. But yeah, it just like it takes like the whole Anakin thing. Well, I suppose we just saw him, but still, it's like. Like, I feel like if you were to do a fan edit of this film, they get to Coruscant and then you just cut to her going, I've decided to go back to Naboo. It's just like, you just cut it all out. Like,
yeah. Dude. See, that doesn't look bad, the background there. I don't get it.
Well, it's just different. It's at night, so you can kind of mask things like that with darkness.
the one that says "bad motherfucker" on it.
You know, he had that in his lightsaber.
Did
BMF and carved in the bottom of the hilt.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And one thing about Qui-Gon is he's a fun character because he kind of goes against the grain a little bit, like in this instance. But also when he goes on that mission into town on Tatooine, he's kind of going against the wishes of the Queen and stuff. A little bit of a rebel, not much, but you know. Whereas Obi-Wan is again just a very square kind of character, you know.
I like that look.
Yeah.
What does that mean, dick? So they're basically on Queen detail.
Was the word Sith ever used in the original trilogy? I forget.
Yeah, they've used it before. Not out of the, like when they were saying that they're going out of the reach of whatever the hell, and then Darth Maul comes into the shot and says, you know, they're not out of the reach of the Sith.
No, I mean in the original trilogy.
Oh,
that's what I mean. Like, was the Sith included as? Was that invented? Well, I think it says in the making of Star Wars, like there's all these terms that George had for the original Star Wars that ended up being used in the prequels. But
yeah, when did the always two thing start? Was that?
That's definitely with this one, yeah. Which is like it kind of like way for George to be like, okay, the Emperor's the villain, but we need someone to fight. So there'll always be two. So there's the secondary guy to come in and.
Which leads me to the question: how do you have somebody on standby if it's only two? You go through three guys in this trilogy alone.
Well, the Emperor's always grooming his next apprentice.
And then stopped with Darth Vader, oddly enough.
Right, yeah.
Guy with a torso. Yeah, you're pouring it on with the midi-chlorians, huh? Okay.
I like his delivery in the scene a lot. I think he does his best to try and sell it, you know.
Sure.
But I think that the mystical quality of the Force, as described by Yoda in Empire, is a lot more spiritual and kind of free flowing. And here it's a bit more like, well, there's these things that are scientifically called this, and then
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, like in pre-production, you're just going on reputation. So it's just like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing. This is a major franchise.
Sure.
And it's Liam Neeson. It's not like it's Joe Smith doing the acting. It's just, and of course, he kills off probably the best actor in the series.
Right. Yeah.
Excuse me, not in this series, in this prequel trilogy.
So I do think that with Neeson gone for the next two, McGregor kind of gets to pick up the slack a little bit.
Sure.
Actually gets some, I don't know. Obi-Wan just feels like more of a character in the next two. A lot of standing around in this film.
Why is his name slipping my mind?
Huh?
The actor that played Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Why is his name out of my head right now?
Ewan McGregor.
No.
Oh, the original.
Yeah.
Alec Guinness.
I was gonna get it. Why did you say that? I don't. I don't know why his name just completely dropped out of my. I'm like really starting to get worried about dementia or something. Like, I'm like, wait, what's his name? I was about to say, well, Alec Guinness is probably the best. I'm like, wait, what was his name? Whoops. Sorry, Alec.
Yeah, this is the weird Ewan McGregor hair where it's like grown like a couple of inches.
Oh yeah,
Almost looks like a wig, actually.
it does. Oh, you see me becoming a Jedi Knight. That's why I'm watching the ship every other time we're going out. Meh.
Decent nobody, dear.
Well, what should we do? What do we feel like? What's that beeping and popping over there?
Microwave stuff. Yeah, it's interesting because when we did the Last Jedi, not to talk about that again, but because we're watching,
we gotta buy time anyway.
We gotta buy time. Because we're watching it without sound for the most part, just with the subtitles, so you don't hear the audio on the stream. I was really appreciating the visual style of that film, and now that I'm watching this without sound, I have to say I'm really just noticing how it is a lot of people just standing around.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never looked at it like that before, really.
There's no doing anything with the camera. It's just stationary tripod shots. I mean, if there are any sort of dolly stuff, it's people walking. There's the camera's doing no work.
I like how he calls the droids mechaniques. You are bringing mechaniques. Oh, what's his name? Gordon's alive. It's bugging me.
Alec Guinness.
Wait, head keeps telling me George Best, but isn't bloody George Best. Why do I think that? God. To IMDb we go.
Speak English pretty good for a German. I agree. Sorry. Good to see you guys enjoyed it the second time. That's a completely different movie. I'll stop talking.
Yeah. I do like this scene, you know, like the kind of the bringing together of that side and that side, and it sets up the kind of battle and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean,
a lot of tell don't show though. Like they tell you that these people don't like each other, and
Brian Blessed, Brian motherfucking Blessed. Okay, great actor, very very over the top actor. I can see why he was chosen for this.
You know, his hair's even longer there. What the hell? It's less poofy. It's kind of wild.
Probably real. I don't think I was entirely aware of Palpatine. I mean, I knew that Palpatine was who the Emperor was. That name's never used in the original trilogy, but I didn't connect the dots of that guy back on Coruscant being the Emperor. But I mean, I was a kid, so I mean, I'm assuming with you it was pretty.
I mean, like once they show him in the hood, it's like, oh yeah, no. Oh, you mean Palpatine without the hood?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't completely obvious. Although there was a point, maybe it was the scene we just went across in Coruscant, whatever the fuck. I was like, wait a minute, and like I was confused, and not until the end where he had his hands on Anakin was like, wait, I see. You know, it wasn't completely. Oh, look, there he is.
Yeah. There we go. We got the 3D holograms going on.
You're going to be hearing helicopters over me quite a bit. There was a bad accident on the train track.
Oh, really? Jesus. That's not this film.
No. Unfortunately, this wreck I can turn off.
Many Gungans died to bring us this information.
Yeah, why couldn't you show us that? There you go. There's the next prequel. Rogan 1. Fuck, I'd much rather watch the Gungans dying to get us information than fucking political jargon. Such an odd shot.
Yeah, when
you're going back and forth, like what the fuck is? What the fuck, man? It couldn't be on wheels. Couldn't be one of those things.
All of them.
Fucking Darth Maul is short. Shit. Hi, Kurosawa.
Yeah.
And this is one of the opening shots in the trailer.
Yeah.
The teaser.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, well, that's awesome. Not having any idea who the fuck Kurosawa was.
Steal from the best.
Sure. Halt.
And now we get the Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah. You know what? They did it first, at least. I remember.
Yeah.
Here's the Windows XP background.
And that was another Kurosawa shot, actually, the coming over the top of the hill. Yeah, someone was saying about Infinity War, like, oh, Phantom Menace. I'm like, well, not really. And then I see that in the Infinity War they have like shields and everything.
Yeah. Well, they did it first, at least. Find a safe place to hide.
Stay
drunk?
There. Sure. That'll go well.
Droid squawking. Yep, lightsabers out.
If only the subtitles were as descriptive as David Lynch movies, where it's like ominous electrical whooshing. This is too close. This is not the kind of battle I was hoping for.
Yeah, he just ducks off behind a random crate or some shit.
It's a shot of Anakin just getting blown up.
Roll credits. Whoa. It just auto picks up R2 because fuck it. That shot doesn't look good either. Too much Vaseline on the screen. Lens, excuse me. Shit. Nope, later. That's fair.
I mean, this stuff is fun. It's it's exciting enough.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Mm.
Is it climax worthy? I don't know about that.
This is like the screen for one of the DVD menus. Like the droids come out and you can like click on each one for like a documentary. Every time I see it, I'm always reminded of the DVD menu. Webisode number 4.
Oh, the boomers. We should not have a boomer. Pretty good Wi-Fi signal to get them all working at once. No faulty anything. They're all just pink.
So that was pretty cool looking, because like a lot of the visual effects in this like the texture is very flat, but that like close up on the droid, you could see like the previous kind of bits of wear and tear and
a little bit of glare on them too,
blast marks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I love that shot. That's a really cool look. But when you're like, your main focus on that battle is primarily a guy bumbling his way through everything and like kind of taking shit out by complete accident.
Have you seen Have you seen the theory that says that Jar Jar is actually stupid, dumb like a fox or whatever? Like, apparently there's this drunken master thing that they think that Jar Jar is actually like a genius, and it's just like, really?
Yeah, I think they took like the jump he does, the pirouette into the water when he dives in, and they're like, "Oh, this is just like a Sith," like
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That was a rumor for a hot second too. Oh, internet, don't change. Don't ever change.
And now we get to the good stuff.
Oh yeah. We'll handle this. Fuck yeah, you will. That's awesome right there. Mm-hmm. Again, cool for a poster. Can't tell you much about the dude himself.
He just has a fucking presence.
Yeah.
Like I would say more. Well, I don't know. I would say Boba Fett has a presence too. Not to keep going back to that comparison, but the actor Ray Park, I think, obviously very skilled martial artist, so he can pull that stuff off. But he does have this kind of menacing presence to him, which only really comes out, I think, in this scene. The rest of it, he's just kind of like glaring around and stuff, and there's not much forward momentum to what he's doing. But when he gets to actually get stuck into the fight,
that door opening with him pulling the hood off, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Again, no dialogue there though. Try to override it.
Like that's so unnecessary. But he's just proper like. I get the feeling Darth Maul's a character he's at his happiest when he's kicking someone's ass. Like he's just like, he's not really interested in all the kind of moping around in hoods. He just wants to fucking chop people up.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And this fucking like setting for a lightsaber fight looks fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. A bottomless pit where they generate electricity.
I mean, is it really Star Wars without like a walkway and some like never-ending pit? It's your bread and butter, really, isn't it?
You have this marble hallway because
So I remember in The Force Awakens when you first see that room with, I was like, walkway. This is something big for that.
Walkway. Have we done one of those? No, we haven't. We haven't done Force Awakens. Have we?
No, we did Rogue One and Last Jedi.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Force Awakens is for better or worse.
Better than this.
it moves start to finish. There's no real let up in that movie. Yeah, no senator scenes in that. This like really.
I know.
Oh man, no, that's genius right there. He knows what he's doing.
Drunken master, an insult to Jackie Chan, man.
I'll have to. It might be the same video you're talking about, because I think I've seen what you're talking about as well. Or perhaps they're two different videos, but there's something where they're just like trying to say that.
Oh, I read like a fucking manifesto. I didn't read. I skimmed. There's like pages and pages of all these instances and everything. I'm just.
Oh, maybe you're the one who showed it to me then.
Possibly. It's been years since it came out. Came out like it was some sort of release, you know, just since someone posted it on the internet.
Some guy named Greg in his fucking basement. That's a good trick.
Oh god. I recently saw a GIF actually of that shot of him spinning and Kylo spinning in Last Jedi. That's pretty cool. Okay. I like that Padme gets stuck in here a little bit, you know, running around with a blaster and stuff.
Sure.
You know,
the Skywalker lineage is
right. You know, because it just, you know, it fits well with who her eventual daughter is going to be.
Sure.
In that sense.
And Me Too, social media. Padme holds her own. Nobody's talking about that.
No.
I don't know if it's because of the 4K TV or what, but the fucking electric shit really looks good.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fucking tubes of electricity.
Yeah.
Have you watched something in 4K? Do you have 4K TV?
Nope, never seen anything in 4K.
Light in 4K is really true to life. And I don't know how they do it, but like something that's bright will be bright on the screen, but everything else is still pretty well shot. So I don't know if this is up converting or what. 4K.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
4K. Obi-Wan just running his head.
And this whole sequence is just like, this to me is a stroke of genius. Like,
yeah, the waiting.
Really intense thing, and then right now we're going to slow it down, and now we're going to inject some like gravitas to it, some weight.
Yeah. Qui-Gon down to his
love
knees.
that. I fucking love that. It's so good.
And Darth Maul just patient, like, I'm gonna fucking rip your head off.
He's like a fucking caged animal, man. Oh, I love it. He's just there.
Yeah.
It's freaking brilliant, man. And then Obi-Wan's there, kind of just far enough that you can't get. You know, it's good.
You know, again, no dialogue. No dialogue. Brilliant.
Right, and you know, people, they give George Lucas all the shit in the world, but you know, for all intents and purposes, these are his movies, wrote, directed, and everything. And there's some moments, but there's some pretty damn fucking cool ones as well.
Yeah. Like, if he could have somebody else write the script, or like just give them an outline and then let them do the work.
That's the thing, man. Look at Empire. You know, get a good screenwriter behind it. But I was just about to say he's a great visual storyteller, and then we're watching this sequence where fucking Jar Jar Binks is bumbling down the hill like fucking Buster Keaton without any of the charm. There's a Buster
How
Keaton
dare you, sir?
He runs down with the boulders behind him.
I'm going to need you to recommend me another movie.
You can watch that one, Seven Chances. He runs down the hill with all these boulders chasing him.
Yeah, Dracula Jr. The Sherlock Jr. wasn't bad at all. I quite enjoyed that.
If you quite enjoyed it, that's quite high praise.
Yeah, no, I wasn't content with it. I had a good time. Still kind of funny too. Kinda. Oh. They win this round. All right. Meanwhile, shrieks.
See, like,
R2. Sure.
I mean, the idea of Anakin kind of just stumbling into this ship, and the ship auto flies up to the battle, and he just kind of oops and fucking saves the day.
Yeah.
It's a little bit on the nose, but the way we're cutting between like the Jedi, the ground battle, the space battle is really well done, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just nice and pacey, and but then you wonder where the editing comes into that. You know, a lot of people credit his wife with kind of saving the original movie as far as the editing goes.
Mm-hmm. And we're off.
Mm. Another happy landing. I mean, you wonder why the hell there is that kind of corridor with all of those like randomly closing force fields.
Sure.
It's like,
and why is there another pit in this room? Like, what?
But it looks fucking cool, and it provides a great moment of tension, and
a slight little pink mist there too.
Yeah.
Out of Qui-Gon's gut. Neat. We can get that in Force Awakens. Or he is back at his ginger fro.
Mm. Now, I might be completely Mandela affecting this, but when I first saw the film, I swear completely that when Darth Maul falls down the pit, he is intact completely. And
yeah, for a couple of... Yeah, he goes down intact, and then he hits the side, and then he falls apart in two pieces, no?
When I first saw it, I swear that he never split in half. And I remember kids in the playground talking about it. I'm like, he doesn't split in half. What are you talking about? I've seen the film. And then anytime I saw that, because I watched it on a pirate copy. And I have no idea if maybe it was one of those copies where it was like something wasn't finished. Maybe I don't know.
Oh wow!
But I don't. I might be completely one of those things. I mean, it's been
I remember
so many years now. You remember it? Okay,
yeah.
Because I mean, I couldn't tell you if it was like filmed from the cinema pirate copy or whether it was, you know.
Uncle Doug. Have you seen Green Book? Have I asked you that? Have you seen Green Book?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. Well, irrelevant right now.
What's that?
I said it's irrelevant right now anyway. Not like I was going to be like, well, this scene here reminds me of when they're on the car to Alabama.
And they get stuck behind a force field. Yeah. Let's just, enjoy this.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
And you see there that's Hugh McGregor, and you know it's like one shot, nice little wide, kind of seeing everything.
And I think to what Red Letter Media was talking about, if there were less lightsaber scenes in this movie, it would kind of highlight the importance of this a little bit more. But I mean, it seems incredible.
But then it's like, what do you do with any action scene they have throughout the film? Because it would feel weird to see a Jedi with a blaster, I suppose. But then, I don't know. Yeah, I think that there's pros and cons to both, but... Whoa. What did I just hit? Okay.
Oh, what are the odds? Thing in the mouth face.
Impossible.
All right, let's get out of here. Because everything's fine now.
But that shot was in the trailer. I mean, again, as a kid, this is like a yes moment. You're like, oh my god. But you can't help but just think, now this is Podrace. I mean, I like the the mirroring there of Anakin and Luke blowing up a big kind of ship, and it's nice, but
yeah, why is it falling in space?
I can't like 1138 on the back of that droid. I can't think of how you would get Anakin up there and blowing that ship up in a way that makes any more sense, to be honest. It's just one of those, if you're gonna have him blow the ship up, I mean,
You could, you know, you have him hide in the back of that ship, whatever the fuck it is, a fighter, and have somebody get in it, and they go, and then they have something where they're out of commission, and Anakin has to take over, or
yeah.
And that was just me on the spot. I swear I didn't think about that, but
You fucking proved me wrong in about 7 seconds flat there. Yeah, so they
more pink dust.
Yeah, and definitely split in half. But it's okay now because he's alive in canon.
Please give us that Obi-Wan movie, please.
Have you not heard that it's apparently going to be a series now?
No.
Yeah, apparently the rumor is it's going to be a 6-episode series on the Disney Plus.
I'm game. Fuck it.
Yeah, apparently production has started in the UK on an unspecified Star Wars TV show. But again, rumors at this point.
Chosen one. Oh, you've been sort of alive this whole time. You couldn't just force push him off.
Right. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so you could have that other pilot fly into the main reactor to take it down, and he gets shot and he's dead.
Yeah,
almost like in Empire when Luke's co-pilot is done and he's got to kind of take over.
Yeah.
And then Anakin's like, okay, let's find a way out of this. Boom, and then uses his skills to get out of there. You know?
Yeah, even more rhyming, like poetry.
Back with the ginger Obi-Wan there.
I like that they get taken away. Where are they taken that we see them in 3?
True, yeah. This is one of my favorite moments. I love the little fucking smirk on his face.
Career.
He's just so satisfied. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think, come on, guys, he's getting on a bit. Let's get some Emperor movie or appearance in a movie again. Just let him ham it up again, for God's sake. It's not like he doesn't enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, they did it at a celebration where he was just hamming it up on with oh no.
Because I really thought they'd puff him into Rogue One there for a second.
That would be,
which probably would have just stuffed that movie even more. But I don't know. I kind of would have been game to see him.
Yeah, I would rather him having a small thing than you'll be dead.
Yeah. You better watch yourself. Yeah, well, what do you want more? You better watch yourself, or now you will experience the true power of the dark side.
Yeah, and they kind of cock tease us too with the trailer, like the tank. You thought it was him, and she's like, "Oh man, really?"
This is a good scene. I think on the soundtrack CD of this, it listed this as like Qui-Gon's funeral or something, or the Jedi funeral, and it was just like. I remember hearing after the fact that people were kind of mad that there was a spoiler in the soundtrack title.
Oh, a little more than that.
See, he has a reason. The master, who is kind of meant a lot.
His last promise. Yeah.
So it makes sense. But still, again. There we go. That's the always two there are. Well, this apart from the action scenes, this is my favorite part of the whole movie right here.
Also, by the way, another absolute Always two, no more, no less.
This fucking shot, I love it.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace, man.
Again, no dialogue.
Yeah. Well, there is leading up to it, but just that moment there. With
Dude, he has a lot of like shots where just like, man, this is really awesome.
Telling
no
the story
words.
with the visuals.
Yep.
There's some theory. I think this song is like the Emperor's theme, but like in a different key or in a different speed or something. Like
that. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Something like that. I need to look into that. I've forgotten. There's definitely some connection there. Which could be John Williams going, "Oh, I'll just use this and do it in a different way," or it's like an intentional kind of like, because I think Palpatine is from Naboo, apparently. I think.
Oh yeah, he's there right now. Well, John Williams kind of borrows from himself anyway.
Fucking right, as you would.
What was the movie that took place in the Olympics? Was it the title of the city? The Spielberg movie.
Munich.
Munich. Yeah, Darth Vader. When he goes bad, that music is in Munich.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. Music from Episode 3 is in Munich. Such a weird.
It's a nice mirroring from Star Wars, I guess.
Sure. The orb.
And we're done. Written and directed. Yeah, you don't say.
I might be the lone person that likes this more than Attack of the Clones. So.
No, I do.
Oh, okay.
When I was a kid, and we'll get to that obviously with the next one, but Episode 2 was like one of my favorites. I loved it. And then as time passes, I think. But then I'm just really weird with that, and it really comes down to like the practicality of it all, where again just more real locations and stuff, and I appreciate that. And you basically get the two high points. You get the pod race and the lightsaber duel.
Yeah. I think the strong in 1 is better than anything in 2. I think 1 is more boring. 1 is boring.
Yeah.
But 2 is just like universally.
Pernilla August. There we go. I think she's really good. I like her in the film. I have no idea who Hugh Corshi plays.
Yeah.
Terrence Stamp.
With his 2 lines. Sitting down in grief.
So, that's it. That's the Phantom Menace. I mean, we have another 5-ish minutes of credits, but any final thoughts?
It is where I had it most recently. I mean, it's not a movie I don't watch, but I watch it way less than I would the original trilogy.
Oh, of course.
Nothing about this viewing has altered it. It's pretty well shaped in my rankings.
Yeah, I think that I think there's a lot with the sequel trilogy when people are always like kind of like, oh, well, it's not like this, it's not like that. But I feel the same way about the prequels. When you compare everything to the original trilogy, it's just never going to be the same. You're never going to get that same aesthetic again from the way that it looks.
Plus, Empire is like one. It's like a top 5% movie. Like it's not a great Star Wars movie. It's a great movie. Like it's rare to go back to the well like that. Like Godfather 1 and 2. Like sure that those are 1 and 1A. It just doesn't happen like that. Sorry.
But I think people, they put the originals on like this kind of pedestal to a point where it's like any other Star Wars film that isn't like the originals is not worthy of, it's, you got to accept that they're never going to be like that special, whether it's from nostalgia or just the fact that those films were made 40 years ago.
I slightly disagree. I think I like Force Awakens a bit more than I like Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, because you're not holding the original trilogy as this kind of thing which can't be, can't be touched. Like The Force Awakens, I mean, obviously they tried to make it with more practical stuff and make it feel more like the originals, but it does feel like its own kind of thing at the same time, I think.
Sure.
But, with the prequels, you kind of have to take them as they are, really, which is a completely different animal with the visuals.
Yeah, he did something different for whatever.
Yeah,
He wanted to be different, and he did it.
yeah. I mean, it's his story, you know.
Mm,
It was his story.
right.
Isn't anymore. Yeah, I think that Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, Last Jedi. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking like which ones would I just watch on their own without going, okay, I'm going to watch like 1, 2, 3 or 4, 5, 6. But yeah, I don't think I would ever just sit down and watch Phantom Menace as its own kind of meal.
Right.
It would
Right.
be part. It would be the starter for the prequel trilogy, you know.
Right.
Or for an instance like this where we're doing the, you know.
Of the prequels, I go back to the third one more than anything, and more often than not, I'll pick up like in the middle of Revenge of the Sith. Of the prequel trilogy, I certainly don't go back to Attack of the Clones on its own. But it's like you said, you kind of bunch them up. You do them like in one sitting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I suppose we'll get more into that with the next ones and talk about that. And, yeah, I think that's all we got to say. I mean, there was a few stretches there where we were kind of really struggling for anything to say.
Yeah. It's strange where there's dead spots and then spots where we're just watching in awe. It's just
yeah, true. Yeah,
it's like you said before. It's just uneven. Yeah, for better or worse.
And that classic moment in the documentary where George Lucas is literally like this in the screening room, and he's like, I may have gone too far in a few places. And I think actually there is a funny bit in that Plinkett review where it shows them after the screening kind of all stood around. He's like, look, they're actually trying to like justify, like, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, well, it kind of worked.
Yeah, and Rick McCallum's face is just like, what happened? What am I doing? Sony Corporation America. The fuck did you do? I remember THX was a big deal. Not anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, technically, you know, there's a lot of good things about it as well, and we've seen the bits that don't hold up as well, the bits that do, and the sound. I mean, that's the one thing we're kind of missing here. Doing it like this, the score. Let's just very briefly, Duel of the Fates. I mean, that is a fucking fantastic piece of music. If you don't get hype about anything, just listening to that. I mean, you can apply it to Star Wars. You can apply it to like I'm going for a fucking run. Like it's oh, what's that breathing?
Oh, that's right. I remember when I worked at the movie theater, like when this was out for a couple of months, and when you're like you start cleaning the theater once you know everybody's out of the theater. Yeah. And I remember the first time I was cleaning the theater, you know, you're doing it to the remainder of the credits. And then sure enough, I heard Darth Vader breathing. I'm like, well, what the fuck? And I only found that out because I was cleaning the theater.
Huh. I don't know if I can actually go back and listen to that. But yeah, that's interesting. So there's
forgot about that. Yeah.
A little nugget there. I remember obviously the teaser poster was Anakin and his shadow was Vader. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That sold for a lot of money on eBay back in the day.
Yeah.
Not quite anymore.
But I think we can all agree that the one constant throughout the entire series has been John Williams' music, which has never faltered in quality and you know doing new things as well, like new themes. And I don't think there's much of him going back to older themes in this one from memory. It's a lot of just its own stuff. Because obviously with 7 and 8, he's bringing back a lot of older themes.
He hints at the end of 3 when Luke and Leia are born.
Oh yeah. I mean, in this one specifically,
right.
There's not much kind of reusing. Like I remember at the end of Attack of the Clones, he brings in the Imperial March a little bit. Anyway, so I think we'll leave it there. This has been fun and should be intriguing to see the other two. Yeah, it's interesting watching it without the sound. I have to say, just looking at the visual staging of everything. So I'm intrigued to see how that plays out with the next two for sure.
Yeah,
and the original.
Valley. We're gonna hit the valley before we hit the peak.
Yeah, we got. I really enjoy Attack of the Clones, so I'm quite looking forward to it. And I'm intrigued to see how the visuals look now as well. Because I think I revisited it like before Last Jedi, just skimming through. I didn't watch the whole thing, so like visuals wise, because that one was shot digitally as well, so it's even different. But anyway, we'll leave that for the next one. So Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave your comments down below if you feel like it. What for better or worse?
Yeah, why bother?
Why bother? We'll see you with the next one, episode 2, Attack of the Clones.